Can you recognize the patterns of your life? Pattern recognition. That's what Tony Robbins is talking about, y'all. Pattern recognition. Do you ever feel like things, like you see the same things over and over again in your life? Do you ever like have that thought that like, man, this just happened to me or that happens happening to me again? It's because our lives are patterns. And so the way that we break out of patterns, first and foremost, is to recognize the patterns, awareness. Remember, y'all, this is for us to get to our ideal life. All of us here on this call, we want to be able to grow, develop, learn. We want to get to some place in our life that we don't see yet. It's in our mind, but we don't see it yet. Maybe it's in our finances. Maybe you want to be a multi-billionaire. Maybe you want great relationships. You want to have a super healthy marriage. You want to have great relationships with your kids or your parents. Maybe you just want to have a lot of great friendships that you don't necessarily have right now. You want people that love you and trust you and you can trust them. Maybe you don't have that right away. Maybe it's something in your health life that you're trying to get to. Maybe you want to lose weight. Maybe you want some more energy. Maybe you want to get off your, medication or whatever the case is. There's probably something that you want to get to. And the first step to getting there is recognizing the patterns of your life that have led up to this point, the patterns that lead to what you're currently experiencing. So that's the stuff that Tony Robbins is talking about. He mentioned a couple things. He said three things. He said pattern recognition, pattern utilization, and then becoming the creator of the pattern. Okay. But patterns are everything is a pattern in your life. Everything is a habit. And a lot of times we're just not intentionally focused on those things. We've been talking about this week about focus, right? Where your focus goes, your energy flows, right? So, are you focused on the patterns of your life? Are you focused on the habits? Are you focused on what is constantly happening? He said 60%, right? 60% of what most people do is habitual. 60% of your day-to-day life, thoughts, all of these things are habitual. You're doing the same things. It's almost unconscious. You almost aren't even, you don't have to think about certain things. Well, maybe that's why your life is where it is. Maybe that's why our lives are where they are, is because we're not even thinking about what we're doing. We're just doing it. That's the first step. That's why he said pattern recognition is the first step to really changing any of these things and becoming aware. You know where pattern recognition is also big? Any of you that are entrepreneurs, any of you that have business minds. Every successful business person is great at recognizing patterns. This is, if you can go trace it back to time, right? I've studied a bunch of successful people. This is normally what happens. Normally, what happens is they start focusing on something. They miss the boat. They're like, oh man, I missed that. I wasn't aware. But because they're still focused on those things, the next time it comes around, they know when to strike. They know what to do because they were recognizing the pattern. They didn't miss out after the second time. This happens in the stock market. People that right pay attention to the stock market is cyclical. Every 7 years or 8 years, it does about the same thing. So maybe you missed it on the first one, but you were intentional to look at it. The next time that thing happens, you're more likely to catch it. That's how you build wealth. That it's because you're aware of the patterns of what's happening. Do the same thing internally, right? He said about triggering, that word, right? It's big in our culture today, right? Oh, I'm triggered. Oh, you're triggered, right? Well, triggered is an external force saying that that thing outside of me controls me. Because you did that, now I'm going to do this. Well, that's the opposite of people like us that want to go off and design our ideal life. What I tell you, this is an internal game. There's nothing that should trigger you. Like Tony Robbins said, you need to rewire yourself so that that does not bother you. Again, what you hear in society may not allow you to get to the life that you want. And these are little small things, small areas that we adapt, that we say, oh, that I'm triggered by this. No, you just aren't taking ownership of how to rewire your actions, your thoughts, your feelings. So that's what we got to work on. But again, pattern recognition, number one. And then he said pattern utilization. That's the rewiring yourself. That's how do you take these patterns and then rewire yourself so that you can now get the desired outcome that you're looking for. Again, think of this in all areas of your life. I don't know exactly where you are personally and what you are dealing with personally, but we all are going through this human experience where we're dealing with similar things. We're dealing with similar things in our health, in our finances, in our spiritual life, in our relationships, in our day to day, in our traumas. Like we're all dealing with these things. So you have to know how to separate yourself from the masses. The second part, he said pattern utilization. Then he said become a creator of patterns. That's something you can do in your family. That's something you can do at your job. That's something you can do in your health life, where you start to rewire and then create new patterns for yourself. Those patterns should lead you, should help you get to the life that you want. That's what we're here to do. Beliefs are habits, emotions are habits. And in our text, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class, it says champions are products of their habits. Again, patterns, habits, similar. But you're a product of your habits. This is some tough preaching on a Friday, but always remember, you are where you are in life because of your habits. If you don't like where you are in your life right now, if you don't like the situations you're in, if you don't like the things, it's nothing outside of you. You're just a product of your habits. I would also say you're just a product of your thinking. Because again, if you change your thinking, you change your life. Why? Because your thoughts, your beliefs that you have adapted, the programming that you've been programmed with, good, bad, and different, have caused you to take certain actions which create certain habits. That's all this is. Because you think about something a certain way, you develop a belief around that thing. When you develop a belief, it's going to cause you to act in a certain way, right? If you believe, simple example, if you believe all fast food is poison, your actions are you don't go eat at fast food restaurants. That's your belief. I believe that this is going to poison my body. Therefore, my actions are I'm not going to go there. So I create a habit of eating at home, of eating at other restaurants, of not going to fast food restaurants. It's that simple. But in all the areas of your life, you've created a belief around something. Some of us have beliefs around money. April's Financial Literacy Month. So you're going to hear me talk a lot about money this month because it's on my mind and I'm doing a bunch of stuff with it, right? But we have beliefs around money that cause us to take certain actions with money that create our habits with money. Real easy one that I train all. If any of you have ever been coached by me financially, you've heard me say this a bunch of times. You have to pay yourself first. That's not what most people do because we've been taught, programmed, our belief is that our bills are more important than our savings. It's a belief. Our parents tell us you're responsible if you pay your bills on time, right? Your credit says, hey, you're responsible if you pay your bills on time. So our belief and our thinking is, oh, well, I need to pay my bills on time. So when money comes in, what do? I pay my bills because that's my belief. But what if that wasn't your belief? Because I know a bunch of wealthy people that their belief is it's responsible for my family to have savings more so than I pay my bills on time. That's their belief. It's like, yeah, I don't believe that like I'm doing this to make the credit card company rich or the mortgage company rich or any of them. I'm doing this. I'm working hard and sacrificing and going out every morning for my family, for myself, for my savings. So I am more important than my bills. That's a belief, which leads them to actions, right? Which leads them to their habits of saving first. It's a belief. You can trace this back to every area of your life as to why you operate the way you operate. And if we never recognize patterns, if we never recognize the beliefs, the thoughts that are driving our life, we're always going to be in that victim place of, oh, it's this, it's society, it's my family, it's the kids, it's the media, it's the this. That's not our life. I will always stress that to you. The number one way to get to the life that you want is to take full ownership of your life and say, you are where you are because of you. Take that in and then start recognizing patterns, start to rewire yourself. Again, change your thinking. That's how you rewire yourself. You change your thinking, and then you'll get a different outcome. Here's what it says in the text. It says, average performers think of habits as something to break, like smoking or eating too much. Professional performers know successful habits are the keys to the kingdom. Each and every day, The great ones reinforce their success habits, such as exercise, proper diet, showing up early, staying late, and studying their field. Champions have a sacred respect for the power that habits exhibit in their life. The pros know if they allow their championship habits to slip for even one day, the habit will begin to atrophy. The great ones know it's more difficult to develop a championship habit than lose it. Say that one again. The great ones know it's more difficult to develop a championship habit than lose it. Easy to lose it. They understand the magnificent force of momentum can work for or against them. As a result, they tend to protect their success habits with an almost religious fervor. Champions are keenly aware of how their habits impact every area of their lives because they always look inside themselves and listen for answers. Again, champions are keenly aware of how their habits impact every area of their lives because they always look inside themselves and listen for answers. Average people are oblivious to success habit formation unless the pain from an unhealthy habit becomes too great. Habits are the raw materials from which the great ones are made. Your patterns, your habits are what create your life. What you do habitually, that 60% of things that you do habitually, is what creates your life, creates your environment, creates how you're experiencing life, how you're going through it. So my encouragement and my challenge to all of you is this is the place to start to pay attention. This is a place to start to think, man, okay, what habits have I created that are no longer serving me? Normally, these are habits that we see outward, but I would take it a step back to say, what are the thought patterns, the thought habits, the emotional patterns that are keeping me where I am in life? What habits, thought habits, emotional habits, actual physical habits do I need to change in order to get to the life that I need to get to? I would take some time today to think about those things. It's Friday. What are you going to do this weekend? Hopefully, it's not the same thing you did last Saturday. Hopefully, that's not your days off. And again, I've been there if it is. No shame, no judgment, no, none of that, right? But I've been there when I was an employee that my days off were routine. Madden, right? TV, Sports Center, right? Hanging out, drinking, smoking, hanging out, right? That was my life 12 years ago. It was that was the way it went. And then I started to get super, super locked in on my personal development, on my personal growth. Why? Because I got clear on exactly what I wanted to make happen. I realized I needed to be time free and financially free sooner rather than later. The goal for us was to retire at 45. We have been saying that since we were in our 20s. The goal was to retire at 45. We're on pace. Retirement, by the way, just means that we work because we want to, not because we have to, right? So I got super clear. So it changed how I was thinking about things, which allowed me to change my beliefs, which allowed me to change my actions, which changed my habits. So then every Saturday didn't look the same. Every single one of my days off was not the same routine of just I watch this, I go here, I do this. It's not the same because now I have different patterns that I'm creating in my life. That's what I'm challenging you to do. If you have a Monday through Friday job, typically Saturday and Sunday are very similar. They look very similar. You do laundry, you do errands, you cook, you meal prep, you do something, right? You hang out on Saturday night, you watch your thing, you hang out with this person. That's your tip, but that is what has you where you are. Your patterns. Your patterns. I know we justify our patterns. We justify them. We say, oh, I need time to relax. I need time to rest. Oh, I'm so tired. I need it. Okay. Can you find a different way to do that? Can you find a different way to rejuvenate yourself? Can you find a different way to relax? Can you find a different show to watch? Can you find a different person to spend time with? Can you do something different that changes your patterns? If you focus on that, ladies and gentlemen, if you're intentional about that, your life will change because you're not doing the same things. You're not thinking about life the same way. You're not having the same habits. You're going to create a completely different outcome in your life in all the areas, health, wealth, love, happiness, all the stuff in all the areas, because that's what we're here to do. Society won't help you with this. They want to keep you where you are. They want to keep you at the status quo. They want you to live life, right? That old saying, misery loves company. There's a lot of people in our society that are miserable and they love company. They're going to keep you where they are. I want you to win. I want your families to prosper. I want you to prosper. I want you to grow. I want you to become the highest, grandest expression of yourself. So that means we got to start identifying some of these things that are keeping us where we are. Normally, it's your habits. Normally, it's your patterns. It's your emotional patterns, your mental patterns, the things that you do day to day that's keeping you where you are. And so, if we want to grow, if we want to get to the life we don't need a break from, which I know all of you want, that's what we're headed towards. And like I said, most of us don't even know people that live that life. We don't know people that live a life that they're just supremely happy with. I've met a few of them. That's why I know it exists, that you can have great relationships. You can have healthy marriage, great relationship with your kids, great relationship with your siblings and parents and all the people around you. You can have all the money that you want in the world, all the abundance. You can have great health. You can have great spiritual life. You can impact people's lives. You can do all the things that you want. These are the things that have to change. These are the things, because when you change your thinking, you become a different person. And when you become a different person, you're going to experience a different life. But all of this comes down to your habits. The action step for today says make a list of 5 habits that could lift you higher to higher levels of success and fulfillment. Make a list of 5 habits that could lift you to higher levels of success and fulfillment. Now select the single habit that would have the most impact and make a commitment to make that a part of your life. Remember, it takes an average of 3 to 4 weeks to form a new habit, whether it's positive or negative. That's how we change. Again, this stuff is simple, not always easy. I'm never going to tell you this stuff is easy. It is simple. It's the small areas that make big differences. But here's a simple formula. Change what you're consuming. First, you want to change your thoughts. You got to change what you're taking in. Eye gates, ear gates, and your mouth. Told y'all I'm going on a fast. My solid food vacation starts Sunday to Wednesday, right? So Sunday to Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. No, Sunday to Wednesday, 4 days. Anyway, I'm getting geared up in my mind. Anyway, change what you're consuming. Consuming in your eyes, consuming with your ears, consuming with your mouth. If you change what you're consuming, it'll change how you operate. Meaning, stop watching the same things, stop listening to the same things, stop being around the same people, take in new information, read a new book, watch a new podcast, watch something new that changes how you're thinking, and do it consistently, not just one day. Do it 3 or 4 weeks. Like, put away all the things that you were doing and completely shift and put new things in for this month of April. If you do that first, your brain chemistry is going to start to change. You're going to start thinking about things differently, and it's going to help you shift some of your habits. When you do that, your life is going to change, but you got to do it consistently, over and over again. I've been doing this for a decade. I'm still nowhere close to the man I want to be, but I've been doing this process for a decade, just changing what I'm consuming, being aware, fasting things, changing what I'm listening to, what I'm watching, what I'm eating. I just constantly am doing that. And that's my encouragement to all of you. This Friday, today's Friday, do something this weekend that scares you. Do something this weekend that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Do something this weekend that is challenging you, that your future self will thank you for. That man or woman that's up ahead, that is the vision of your life that you see, do something that they will thank you for. Stay intentional about these things. Pay attention to your habits. Promise you your life is going to change, y'all. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve to win. Your families deserve to win. Nobody tells you that. I'll constantly tell you that because you need to hear it. It needs to be a programming that, like, you deserve to win. You deserve to win, but you got to go change some of these things. You got to pay attention to your habits. You got to pay attention to your patterns, because that's what's got you exactly where you are. And if you can trace it back and recognize patterns, then you have the ability eventually to create the patterns for your life. All right. Enjoy your weekend. Love you guys. Talk soon.